When I was taking piano lessons to play in the church, one thing that my former piano teacher, he told me, he was like, there are going to be times where you're playing and the congregation, the crowd, whatever, they're not feeling you, they're not encouraging you. So he told me that I should be playing for two people. Make sure I always do this. One for God, and the second was for me. So even if I'm playing for the Lord out of all my heart, soul, and strength, and I'm playing for my own enjoyment, then I'm covering, if I'm playing for God, I'm covering everybody that's in the crowd. If I'm playing for me, I'm doing it out of my own enjoyment. I'm also covering everybody that's in the crowd because I'm doing it for me first. And I have applied that to pretty much everything in my life, specifically with the music. A lot of artists, yeah, of course they love the music, and that's why they got into it. But you start to get into this thing where you enjoy the praise from the crowd to the point where you get addicted to it. And that can be a blessing, and it also can be a curse because people are very fickle. They'll love your performance one day, and the next they'll boo that same performance. And if you're doing it for them, then it can really, your mood can go up and down because you're dependent on other people to support and validate who you are and what you're doing. The reality is that although they might be impacted by it, you have to be secure in who you are before you can write something that other people can judge. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are consumers. You're the creator. They're just reacting to what you're putting out. So the more that you put out, a lot of times people, they either become one or two things. They either become the type of fan or supporter that you can do no wrong by, or the more you put out, they just start hating because they want you to be the old you, or they want you to only do this version of what you've done. So you have to get to the point where it's like, I appreciate your support, but you don't control me. You don't control what I do or why I'm doing it. You have to have your why for why you're doing it. For me, I'm trying to leave a legacy. I don't have any children yet, but when I have children and for the things that I want to teach them, this is just another component so that when I'm gone, not only will this just be a continuation of my voice, but it'll just be for other people as well. But it starts with me. It starts with me. I'm doing this because I believe strongly that God wants me to, and that He's empowered me to, and that He's always wanted me to. Even before I was ever a rapper, I was still a writer. I was writing short stories. I was writing poems. And I've always had messages within these things. I don't ever want to be controlled or validated by the opinions of other people. People are going to have them, and I appreciate them, good or bad. But with me, I'm at the point in my life, and I've been at this point for a long time. But even more so, I don't care. If you like what I do, great. If you don't, as long as I like it, and as long as it's meant to touch the people that it's meant to touch, that's what matters. And it takes a lot because we've been conditioned to feed off of the views and opinions of others to get that validation. We think that's love. It's not love. They love what you've given them in that short moment, and then they're going to go do something else. They're going to jump onto somebody else. And then if people start comparing you, then you'll see how quickly people will chop you down just to put the next person up and then put them down too. At the end of the day, you have to find your why and stick to that, whether you have the whole crowd following you or whether it's just that one person. And if that one person is you, it has to start and end with you. If you're a spiritual person, or for me, I'm a Christian, so that one person that always going to be there is God. He's the beginning and end for me. But then that second person is me, and then I build on that with others. But when all of them leave, I still have a net positive if it's still God and me, and we're like this. So I just want to make this video just to encourage anybody. We only have one life. We only have one life on this earth. Don't live your life full of regret one day because you were crippled with fear and doubt. And what are they going to say? It doesn't matter. Do it for you. You don't want to be an old man or old woman like, I should have did this or I could have did that. It really doesn't matter if you fail or you win or you succeed. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you put in that work, you put in that pain, that blood, sweat, and tears to do something. Because a lot of people don't do anything. They're the consumers. They're the ones who do this. But very few people really make that walk. And the few people who make that walk, there's very few that continue that walk. A lot of people start stuff. They say they're starting businesses, they're going to do that, going to do this. But when it gets hard, they run away. It takes a strong person, it takes a committed person to be consistent. Because when you first start something, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a career, have a baby, anything, everybody's there. Everybody's there. But when you're in the thick of it, it's just you. And then whoever else is the main support, it's just you. So you got to keep that in mind. And that's what I've done. I don't look to anybody to validate me. If you like what I'm doing, I'm happy. If you don't, I'm still happy. Because my happiness isn't coming from you. It's coming from Him. And I'm happy with myself. A lot of people, whether they say good comments to me, bad comments, or indifferent, or these little slick stuff, I don't get caught up in that. That's why I just don't respond to stuff, because it just doesn't matter. And some people get offended by that, but those are the same people that are used to their opinions mattering, and it don't matter to me. I'm the wrong one. I'll laugh with you, Nobody can talk worse about me than me. And nobody can talk better about me than me. And that's how I keep it. And that's how I protect myself. But yeah, anyway, we only live one life on this earth. Don't go a life, without trying. And even if you fail, there's nothing wrong with failing. Fail forward. Fail until you succeed. When you practice, you should fail a lot. It's nothing wrong with failure. Failure makes you better. No one is perfect but Jesus Christ. So, yeah, tomorrow's not promised. Live for today.